Okay, so if you've ever had a major health scare, something like a blood clot, you know that the physical part is really only half the story. There's this other thing that can happen, this sudden, intense wave of anxiety that just washes over you, leaving you feeling completely terrified. Well, today we're going to pull that panic spiral apart and give you the tools to get back in control.
And it all kicks off with that one awful thought, doesn't it? A little twinge in your leg, feeling a bit breathless, things that used to mean nothing. But now they feel like a massive threat. And that one thought, well, that's the spark that can light a wildfire of panic.
And listen, if that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are so not alone. This is so common that it actually has a name: post-thrombotic panic syndrome. These aren't just little worries. We're talking about intense, all-consuming episodes of panic. The good news is they do tend to fade over time, but just knowing what it is, that's a huge first step. So what are we talking about here? What does a panic attack actually feel like? Well, it's a full body experience. Your heart starts hammering in your chest, you might get dizzy, you can't catch your breath. Some people even get chest pain or feel sick. Your hands might shake, you start sweating, and all of it is wrapped up in this feeling of absolute pure fear. It's terrifying because your body is literally screaming at you that you're in danger.
All right, so how on earth does this happen? It can feel like it just ambushes you out of nowhere, but a panic attack actually follows a really predictable pattern. And you know what's great about predictable patterns? They can be interrupted. So let's dig into how one tiny little sensation can spiral into a total panic attack. Yeah, this is the big question, right? Because if you can understand the process, you can find the off-ramp. This isn't some kind of personal failing or a sign of weakness. It's just a chain reaction, a feedback loop in your mind and body. And we're about to lay it all out. Okay, so check this out. It's a four-step loop. First, you get a trigger, just a normal physical sensation. That leads to step two, the thoughts, where your brain immediately jumps to the worst-case scenario. This is another clot. Those thoughts then trigger step three, the feelings. This is when the adrenaline kicks in and you feel that intense wave of anxiety. And that fear drives step four, behaviors. You rush to the doctor, you call for help, which feels right. But here's the kicker. Doing that actually reinforces the whole cycle. It tells your brain, see, I was right to be terrified. So what's really going on under the hood? Well, your body's natural alarm system, that fight or flight response, it's getting a false alarm. It's preparing you for a massive threat that just isn't there. So adrenaline starts pumping, you start taking these fast, shallow breaths, you start hyperventilating. That messes with the oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in your blood, and guess what? That causes more scary symptoms, like dizziness and tingling, which of course just confirms your worst fears. It's a perfect vicious feedback loop. Okay, so how do we short-circuit this thing? We start with the single most powerful tool you have with you at all times, your breath. Seriously, by changing the way you breathe, you can send a powerful, direct signal to your brain that says, hey, we're okay, stand down. Let's see how it works. You know, when we get anxious, most of us do this shallow chest breathing. But the key to calm is breathing from your diaphragm. That's this big muscle right here sitting under your lungs. When you breathe with it, your stomach actually pushes out when you inhale. That's how you know you're getting a deep, full, relaxing breath. And one of the absolute best ways to practice this is a technique called box breathing. It's so simple. Just picture a square. You breathe in for a count of 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, and you hold again for 4. That's it. That simple rhythm can slam the brakes on a rising panic attack. But why does this simple little trick work so well? It's actually pretty brilliant science. First, it fixes that oxygen and CO2 imbalance, which gets rid of the dizziness and tingling. Second, it soothes the amygdala. That's kind of like the smoke detector in your brain. And third, it brings your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, back online. You are literally breathing your way out of the panic center and back into the logic center of your brain. All right, so we've got our first tool for when panic strikes. But let's zoom out a bit, because all that repeated stress and anxiety, it builds up in our bodies as chronic muscle tension. You can almost think of it as a kind of physical armor that your body puts on to protect itself. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Our fears, our habits, the way we react to stress, it's not just in our heads. It gets physically woven into our bodies, into the way we carry ourselves every single day. So when we say body armor, this is exactly what we're talking about. It's these patterns of tension in your muscles and your fascia. That's the sort of web of connective tissue that holds everything together. It's the physical result of constantly bracing for impact, emotionally and physically, often without even knowing we're doing it. So how do you take this armor off? You can't just will it away. You have to actively teach your body the difference between being tense and being relaxed. And the best way to do that is with a skill called progressive muscle relaxation. All you do is systematically tense up one muscle group, squeeze it tight, and then let it go completely. It helps your body remember what it feels like to not be tense. And hey, here's something you can do literally right now, wherever you are. Check your posture. When we feel anxious or defeated, we tend to slump. Just the simple act of sitting up straight, stacking your spine, sends a message to your brain that you're alert, you're energetic, you're in control. It's a small physical change that can have a big mental impact.
Okay, we've got our breathing, we've got our muscle relaxation. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's build a concrete, step-by-step action plan that you can pull out the second you feel that anxiety starting to creep in.
I really want this number to stick in your head. 5 minutes. That's the key. Just commit to giving yourself 5 minutes to use these tools before you do anything else. Think about it. What's 5 minutes compared to hours of distress or a trip to the ER? It can completely change the outcome of your day. This is it. This is your game plan. Step 1, spot the signs. Get good at catching that feeling early, before it gets big. Step 2, reframe your thoughts. You have to have a new mantra. Instead of, I'm having a clot, it's, I felt this before. This is panic, not danger. Step 3, use your tools. Don't wait. Immediately start your box breathing. Start releasing that tension. And finally, step 4, decide next steps. Give the tools a real chance to work. Only if the symptoms are still there after you've really tried to calm yourself down, then you can consider getting medical help. All right, let's just quickly run through the big takeaways here. First, panic is not a mystery. It's a predictable cycle, which means you can learn to break it. Second, your best tools are physical. Your breath, your muscles, they're your first line of defense. Third, your body and mind are not separate. They're in constant conversation, and changing one can absolutely change the other. And finally, the most important thing, having a plan before you need it is everything. So I want to leave you with this one final thought. It's easy to feel like our body's alarm system is in charge. But think about it. What if that alarm didn't own you? What if it had a manual override and you were the one holding it? Because with these tools, you have the controls.